Okay, you got to watch this before you start a record label. And by the way, I think you should start a record label. I'm a huge advocate of people starting record labels. I think we need more record labels in the world because I think we need people who are curators, art curators, people who are passionate about helping artists. Not every artist needs a record label or wants a record label, but some people do want someone in their corner championing their music. And if that's you, then yes, you should start a record label. I have a huge resource, a big masterclass I just released that you can watch that to get into the nitty gritty. But there's 5 things I want to talk about, just 5 little pieces of advice that I want to give you before you do start your record label. But number 1, don't, I'm joking. Number 1 is delay, but it's similar to don't. It's delay. I actually want you to delay your launch. And so let's actually think of a little bit of a timeline here. If you're watching this in, let's say, July, okay, so it's July in the year. You could be watching this at any point of the year and you can just shuffle the math. I personally, if I thought about starting a record label, if I was just in the research phase, I definitely would not start a record label anytime before January of the following year. So that's like 6 months away. But honestly, even that is like coming up really soon, and that starts to make me nervous. So I don't know if that's a good idea. I would maybe say like 1 year from now, maybe launch in the spring, like May. I would pick. So if I'm in July, I'm going to pick like May, June for a launch. That's my point. My point is like there's a lot that we've got to do, not just getting ready. And I know you might be thinking, well, don't I just need a contract? I need a lawyer. I need a logo. I need a website. Isn't that all there is? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, you could really get started pretty quickly, but that's not the point. The point is that we want to be in the research phase, which we'll talk about in a second. And we want to just gather and be inspired. And then we want to start to build up our launch. The reason why you actually want to delay your launch and why you need more than just those things I mentioned when you start your label is because you actually need a plan. You need a pipeline. You need what's going to come next. So if you were to say, look, I'm all ready. It's July. I could launch in September. It's just 2 months away. Okay, you launch in September and maybe you have a single or an artist to announce, but then what's next? And what's after that? And what's after that? A successful label is somebody that shows up every quarter or every month with something new to release. And so you have to have that pipeline planned out and ready to go. So that's why I say have a nice little buffer of lead time. Give yourself 6 months to a year to research this and start planning, and then you'll know if it's legit for you. Number 2 is research. Research and admire. Look around at other record labels that you admire, people in the genre that you're hoping to be in, labels that you grew up admiring. Look at some of the records in your collection. Look at the spines, look on the back. Just learn about record labels. Check out some books, watch videos by me. Email some of your favorite record labels if they're small enough and just say, hey, I'm thinking about doing my own thing. I'm in a different country. I'm in a different city as you, or I'm in the same genre, or I'm in the same city but a different genre. And reach out and see if you could find someone to mentor you and to give you some advice. Right now, it's chaos before the clarity. The clarity is when you launch, when you know the type of label you want to be and what's coming next down your pipeline. But right now in the early phases, before you get started, and the reason you're watching this video is it should be chaotic. It should be just gathering a shoebox of inspiration and ideas and mood boards and Pinterest boards and records that you've bought from other labels or that you've bought from local record stores, going to record stores, going to pressing plants, just meeting people, just getting immersed in this before you actually get started. Number 3, don't tell anyone. If we're going to do this in 6 months from now or a year from now, this is your like secret research phase. The reason why I don't really like to tell someone is twofold. First of all, you got to be careful of entrepreneurial seizures. That's where like you get this idea and it's all encompassing and you tell everyone, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then like you don't follow through with it or you lose a little bit of interest. And so what I really want you to do is just keep it to yourself right now and just start to build it and get excited about it. And don't really tell anyone because then it's your secret, something that you're really excited about. If for some reason you research it and it's not for you, then you haven't really embarrassed yourself in any way. But I just like to keep it secret. And the biggest reason is I think it has a great promotional effect. If you've done this 6 months to a year that I've told you of researching and getting everything set up and having a pipeline of artists, and then all of a sudden to your friend group or your music community, you just announce this record label is out. Here it is. We're doing this. And everything is all dropped at one time. People are going to be blown away. It's going to have a shock and awe effect. So that might be a cool way of doing it. Tip number 4 is Guinea Pig Yourself. I've talked about this many, many times before, and really this is less of a tip and more of an observation, meaning that most of the record labels I've talked to in the past 7 or 8 years of doing this job have started just by self-releasing their own music, which I think is redundant to say. Self-releasing your own music, doesn't matter. But I think that is the norm, really. And I think it makes a lot of sense because you can make the mistakes on your own music or your band's music or your best friend's band music, or maybe your boyfriend or your husband is in a band and you want to start the label, and so you're going to release their music. Or maybe it's your sister's label, or your sister is the artist and something like that. The point is that kind of keeping it close to home allows you to learn while not under pressure. If you were to sign an artist from overseas who you really admire and kind of intimidates you, that's just going to put a lot of unnecessary pressure on your new label. In fact, what I think is important is to work with your very first artist who's at the same level in their music career as you are in your record label career. Meaning, just like grow together, don't aim for someone who is going to have some really high expectations of their record label that you might not be able to meet because you're new to this. And finally, number 5, break the rules. The most important, my number one rule for starting a record label and running a record label, and the thing I love so much about the labels I get to interview here, is that they break the rules. That's my only rule for you, is that you break the rules. What do I mean by that? Well, when we say record label and we tell our friends that we want to start a record label, they have an idea of what a record label is. First of all, they're like, well, are record labels even necessary anymore? Do they still exist? I haven't heard of that in a while. Or doesn't seem to be record stores in the malls anymore. Or isn't every artist just self-releasing? And then they also think about the kind of problematic, exploitative record labels of the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. I get it. That's a huge amount of baggage that the term record label carries. But I think the new record label model is a model that doesn't exist yet. Or it's a model that exists just once with one cool record label who's doing something really unique. And then there's a separate record label model that is another label somewhere else in the country or on the other side of the world that are doing their own thing in their own unique way. I actually don't think there is a definition of what it means to be a cool, successful, independent record label anymore. It's not necessarily following that mold of signing an artist, dropping a single, dropping another single, dropping a pre-order, releasing the album. All of those things are great. I still do those things. You still do those things. And you should still do those things. But the labels that get a ton of traction, the really exciting ones, the ones that are paired with record stores, the ones that are also a recording studio, the ones that are a music school / record label, or a university / record label, or a coffee shop / record label, or a prison / record label, or a record label just for youth, or a record label for just a minority group. The point is that when you think of the traditional model of a record label, that is maybe your starting point. That is just the stick figure of a person. But your ideas, your unique innovation is going to fill out that body of what makes your record label special and unique. So when you think about the rules, you think, shouldn't I do this? Isn't this how it's supposed to be done? Don't I need to follow a physical release with a digital release? Don't I need to do CDs? Isn't everybody telling me I should be pressing vinyl, but I don't feel like I should be doing vinyl? Should I be doing albums or should I be doing singles? Or maybe everyone's saying that you should just be dropping singles, but I still feel really partial to albums. Can I just do a record label that just releases albums? The answer to those questions is yes or no. Or no and yes. Doesn't matter. There's no rules. Break the rules. So before you start a record label, here's what I want you to do. Delay your launch. Give yourself a nice little buffer of time to get everything you need before you get started. Tip number 2, research and admire other record labels and use that time as you're delaying your launch to learn and do as much as you can. Number 3, don't tell anyone. During this time, just keep it secret because that little nugget of information is going to be a huge promotional burst when you actually announce and launch. Number 4, guinea pig yourself. Work with artists who are either your own music, your own band, or just your friend's band, somebody in a close circle of forgiving people. And number 5, break the rules. And guess what? You can even break these rules. There's 4 rules before I get to break number 5, which is break the rules. So you can break my rules if you want. Honestly, do it your way. If you need help starting a record label, I have a ton of resources. We just launched a new masterclass on YouTube that you can watch. It's super long. It's super in-depth. You can also download our toolkit by going to otherrecordlabels.com/toolkit. A huge shout out to our friends at Lander. They are the official digital distributor of Other Record Labels. They make today's video possible and all of the videos that we do. So a big shout out to them. Click the link in the description. If you're looking for a digital distributor, I recommend Lander highly, and you can get 20% off your subscription by going to otherrecordlabels.com/Lander. Thanks for watching and good luck with your label.